Yeah.
Good evening and welcome everybody to Buhurt League Total Recall. This evening we will be speaking all about Buhurt Prime in particular. So for the next hour we'll be joined with two guests. We'll be fielding some questions. You'll also be invited to give us your questions either through YouTube or the Facebook channel, wherever you're from, and we'd love to hear from you. So I'm Gavin Stewart and I'm joined by two absolute legends. Now I mentioned that for the next hour we will be talking to these two guys, but I think it'll take about an hour to introduce them because they are so well decorated and well known within the HMB movement. Now, first of all, our first guest is from the United Kingdom. He has captained his nation in Battle of the Nations. And although he is a quiet one, as some have said, do not be fooled by it because he is a very highly decorated Buhurt fighter and indeed pro fighter. He is from the renowned team White Company from the UK, who of course won the first season of Buhurt League and earned their place that way in the first Buhurt Prime and indeed featured there again last year. So first of all, Daniel Winter, great to have you with us. How are you?
It's great to be here. I'm good.
Fantastic. The second guest we have this evening needs absolutely no introduction whatsoever, but I'm going to give him an introduction. He is one of the most prolific HMB fighters. He fights with absolute everything. He's an expert in all weapons. He is the captain of his country. He has led his country in Battle of the Nations. He has fought at Buhurt Prime, also as a mercenary, and he even featured as the viewers' choice fighter of Buhurt Prime last year in Monaco. Please welcome from Israel, Michael Morgul. Michael, how are you?
Oh, hi guys. Fine. Surviving.
Surviving, yeah, that's really the issue right now. Well, you don't need me to tell you that, of course, COVID has been traumatic for everybody, for people's work, for people's lifestyles, and of course, it's been the difficult for the HMB movement. There's simply been hardly any tournaments. When we thought things would be moving on well, unfortunately, the second wave hit, and here we are once again without Buhurt Prime. You may see a lot of your news feeds on social media, Facebook, etc., that people are sharing memories of Buhurt Prime, and it's wonderful, but of course, we're all a little bit sad because it is not featuring this year. So the best we can do is bring to you a few memories from Buhurt Prime and a few ideas, thoughts, opinions about the future of Buhurt League and Buhurt Prime itself. So first of all, guys, how are you surviving with the COVID situation? Misha, first of all, is it difficult to train, to live, to survive? How is it?
Yeah. First of all, the Corona show the guys who has discipline and who have no discipline, and this is the first one. Second one, it's United trainings. We have finished lockdown this Sunday. It's just partially finished. Yeah, we still couldn't train, but we came to the gym and cleaning each Sunday together, cleaning the armors and cleaning the weapons. So we just passed to underground with trainings, and yeah, we have to train also at home, also via Zoom. The virtual trainings, it's like something that I'm not like at all, but this is a situation, and we have to, like I said before, to survive.
Yeah, of course. How about you, Daniel? How are things in the United Kingdom?
Ups and downs. Obviously, last year we actually were able to train for a while when they released the lockdown. Able to actually meet as a team and train properly. Then, I mean, I'm lucky in that my teammates can be relied upon to train in their own time. They always have done, and they did do before White Company formed. So throughout this whole time, even if we cannot meet up, they have been doing their own fitness, practicing their own footwork, striking. You know, But I do agree with Morgulis in that it is showing those who don't have the discipline to continue training, and because you can always train, even if you have no gym or can't meet up, you can go for runs, get on the Pel, practice your footwork. There's lots of stuff you can do by yourself.
Sure. How long do you think that this will continue? I mean, what are the situations in your countries? How long will this continue? How long before we can see a tournament in your countries? Michel.
Okay, first of all, I have a wife. Almost all people know her, Daria, that finishing biologic molecular science. So she said, at least till the end of the year, we have corona. We still have corona. With vaccine, without vaccination, still it will be. So for us, we are praying for that Battle of the Nations will fall to the between the waves of corona. So this at summer will be like falling down with the numbers of illness. So we are training, yeah, and
We'll see.
Yeah, that's it. Just to continue to train with Danny.
How do you think this entire pandemic, how do you think it will affect the HMB movement? Because it has meant that a complete absence of tournaments does, of course, if you want to be a serious fighter, you have to take part in tournaments. What do you think the impact will be?
We success this year before, after the Prime, twice to compete. Twice, that's it. At March and November, that's it. Small event, just to meet clubs and fight. That's it. We late with our finals. We have like not Buhurt League. We take the main idea of Buhurt League to the Israel, and we made the like Israeli League of medieval fights. For what? For clubs just come and compete, make points, and end of a year we have like winners and more etc. So only twice, and the finals that was planned to the September, we finish at the end of November between the lockdowns.
Okay.
So for professional competitors, it's a very strong hit. It's just smashing a lot of people. For a sportsman who lives it, it's like almost end of a career.
Yeah.
So for us, with this underground trainings, we success to do something to stay on low level, but it's not for a long time. So we have to use each breaks between lockdowns to make as more events that we could, but keep from corona.
Of course, yeah. Daniel, how's it for you?
Much the same. I mean, in terms of how it's going to affect our sport, I think you will see a larger divide between those who are dedicated and those who are not in terms of development, because obviously those who are dedicated are going to have carried on training in their own time. And I've got friends who, low-level fighters, but in the last year, they've literally done nothing. So they're going to be very out of shape and not progressed at all. I mean, obviously for myself and my teammates, we haven't been able to compete for a year. And obviously, I won't lie, there's a little bit of sort of nerves on how it'll go when we get back into that ring. But we're still training hard in our own time.
Good.
So at least we're keeping our fitness up. And so I think you'll see a divide between those who do and those who don't. And it should be quite a big one.
Do you think there's opportunity in this? Do you think it can be a good thing? Do you think there's a positive in the fact that we can divide, who is the serious professional sports person and who is the, let's call them, the hobbyist? Do you think that there can be a positive thing of this?
No. totally no. For each, it's like few plans where it hit us. First of all, as a sportsman. Second one, it was a promo. We made a promo before last lockdown. Put not a lot of, but pretty good cash for a promo to bring more new people. And in the middle of a promo action, we have lockdown. So money goes out. People even who write to me, yeah, I will come after the lockdown, lost. You just lost the people. So as the training hall that nobody could train, they want our cash. They want we pay rent. From where we will take money. Nobody care. Yeah. So it's a third one where we got striked. But as Jewish, we know to make find a new ways to survive. We survive. Till now, we survive. I hope even next lockdown, I hope and holding my hands to survive. But this is there is I see only one maybe good reason in you ask not bad words, but in this situation I have only maybe one, that the guys who have very strong discipline now they show themselves. In a regular life, maybe yes, maybe no. Here, you coming or not, you training or not. At this small meeting that we made and make competition, you see everything. You have no in the middle like tests, small tests with sparrings. No, just gaming and showing the results, and that's it. But not good. Good situations at all.
Sure. Okay.
Daniel, hey, Daniel, do you see something good in this kind of?
Not at all. I think the only thing that it perhaps has done is given us time to catch up on some of the things we were working on before. So we've been trying for a long time to get a league going in the UK. But in the UK, there's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of paperwork that has to be done for us to be able to do that sort of thing here. And the only thing that's come out of it is it's given us time to do necessary paperwork for that sort of thing to happen. But other than that, I agree with Morgulis. Like, nothing good's come out of this situation for anybody. Yeah.
I think that really the sad thing for me is that I see some really great fighters, and I don't like to be too pessimistic, but I see that people have lost a year of their careers as fighters, and that's no criticism of the people's fitness or integrity or anything like that. But fighters want to fight, and quite simply, in the worst case scenario, they've lost a year of tournaments, and at least a year of tournaments. We're not finished yet with COVID, and it's such a sad thing to see. And I really hope that there won't be any sort of physical or psychological damage because of this on the fighters, because I really want to see some of the talent, and we'll speak about some of the young talent a bit later also. Okay, so go on, continue.
I had a question. I had a question for Daniel. Is any guys from your team got corona?
Yeah, so Edward had corona very early on. He was fine, and his missus was fine. He was down for a couple of months.
He's recovered okay?
Yeah, he's recovered okay, no long-lasting effects. He actually he lost actually a lot of fat on it. He's quite shredded now, so it's done him some good.
Well, it's strange. I actually had coronavirus, and I didn't lose any fat at all. I just got more fat from staying indoors. I couldn't leave the house, so I couldn't do any movement. But
Не отключилась камера. Second. Sure. Sorry.
Where are you? Anyway, yeah. So there he is. He's back. Okay.
Yeah.
Almost.
You see?
Nope, you've gone again.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Excellent. Good to have you back.
Hmm.
Okay. Remember, people, if you've got any questions whatsoever for Daniel or Michal, then please ask the questions. Absolutely anything at all is fine. We've gone through this the negative things about COVID. You can ask them anything about their experiences at Buhurt Prime, and not only. And later on, even if you've got some embarrassing questions, go for it. Go for it. Do not hold back. Okay. So, guys, I want to move the conversation on to Buhurt Prime itself. We don't have Buhurt Prime this year. Of course, it was 1 year ago that we enjoyed the second edition of Buhurt Prime. Daniel, it was your second edition of Buhurt Prime. What were the differences for you between the first Buhurt Prime and the second one? Which did you prefer? Which went better? And from what point of view? How was it?
I wouldn't say that I preferred either of them over the other. Obviously, the first one, 2019, obviously the first time you do any big event like that, it's special, isn't it? So my memories of the first one are maybe a little rose tinted because of that. I mean, we came same position both years, which was a little frustrating. The whole team. For us, I mean, the first year, I would say that we were a little bit more nervous about it. The whole thing was so big, and we were all so excited by it that. Well, you know what nerves can do to you. You know, maybe we didn't perform as well as we should have done. When you watch videos of us from 2019, we were a little more tense than we should have been. That was one of the bigger differences for us. I would say in 2020, some of the fights were harder. Yeah, there was some tougher teams there, but. At the same time, we were more relaxed. You see it if you watch the videos from 2019 and 2020. We were just more relaxed. And equally, obviously, we'd had a year more experience in the team. You know, and we'd had Battle of the Nations where we managed to do very well as a team there. So yeah, I mean, I enjoyed both of them for different reasons. The first one, it was all new and shiny, and the second one, it felt like we actually performed better as a team, even though we finished in the same place.
Well, of course, everybody's quality improves. All teams, it's natural. Okay, Misha, how about you? You fought for Taurus, the Ukrainian team, last year. How was that for you? How was your experience?
I will start with a story how I go to the Taurus. I saw the announcement of first Buhurt Prime, and I say, wow, I want to participate this competition. I started to write to each captain, do you want me as a fighter? Do you want me as a fighter? I'm ready to come. Nobody wants, and the organizer says, that's it, just it. No legionnaires. I said, okay. Next year, I'm at this kind of competition. I have to be for what I'm training. This is the best of the best. It's like Dynamo, but you have to pass semifinals and more just to raise the points. And I write at the beginning of the season. I write, and I think, oh, I will got a lot of invites to the team. No. Just three captains write to me, and they say, do you want to join? It was Germany, Taurus, and one more team. I even don't remember which. Just I asked Germany, I asked Taurus for how serious you are ready to go to the competitions, because you have to raise the points, you have to collect and win. It's even not so matter to win at the beginning, but you have to make a point. And they say, yeah, we're ready, and we're ready that you came to us to train, and we're ready to came even at least one day before a competition, and we made trainings together. And this what we did at least 3 times. We came to the competitions and we talk and we train. We talk about tactics and what to do, what not to do. And after the fights, we learn what was our mistakes. So I love to work with Taurus. I very like the work with them. They pretty professional. Why I leave the Taurus for a new season? First of all, I also want to promote Israel on international arena. For me, Iron Dome, it's like a small brand. And the second, the year that they specified on the Buhurt Prime, they leave all problems of a club, just they leave it, and the problems is still there. So they now develop their own club, and I very appreciate this, that they take me and not somebody from their club. So this is it was very good experience as with a team, yeah. And the Prime, it's, I don't know what more heavy, Prime or Dynamo, yeah. Because Dynamo, you have almost same fights at the end, because pretty same teams, yes. But at the beginning you have to pass what you do during the year, you do it like at the morning or at the midday, yeah. And then at evening you have to fight. Here it was less, it like was 2 fights, no, it was 2 fights, no, and then semi-final, and just so it's a little bit another. But about the show, the Prime is a Prime, the place, the Prime is a Prime. So as point to get there, Prime is long-term destination. The Dynamo, you can to start to train you have to train during the year, but specify your trainings to 5 versus 5. You could start 3 months before, 2 months before. If you stupid, no train at all before Dynamo, yeah. And so here you have to go with this idea of you are going to Prime. This competition I try to win as much fights as we could for Prime. This competition, I have no power, I have no money, I have nothing, but I have to go, because without this we will not get the Prime. So it's a long-term competition.
How about the actual fights that you had? I mean, of course, we are looking at the top 10 teams of the Buhurt League in that season. For you, which were the toughest fights and which were some of the surprises? Daniel?
So we have a bit of history with Western Tower. We've fought against them a lot, and every time we fight against them, it's just 3 rounds, 4 rounds, 5 rounds. In Nijinsky in Poland, it went for, I can't remember.
26 minutes, wasn't it? The one
yeah, we ended up doing. In terms of actual fight time, there was like 30 odd minutes of fight time, but the actual fight was an hour long, including the amount. So that was a bit silly. So that fight was exhausting. That went for quite a few fights, quite a few rounds again. But that's one that does always stick out in my memory for me when I think back on 2020. In part because we have beaten Western Tower in the past, and then they've beaten us. So kind of gone backwards and forwards a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we've never managed to beat Airport in any tournament yet. Though we have timed them out in some rounds. But yeah, so the fight with Bearpaw is another favourite of mine that I like to go back and rewatch.
Yeah.
As for specific moments in the fights, I can't say there was a specific moment in either of those fights really stands out to me. Because when I'm in the fight, I'm in that mode, time disappears. I just fight until we either win, we lose, or they call time. And I ignore everything else. I ignore the pain, how tired I am. I just fight. So yeah, there's not a specific moment in those fights that really stand out, but those are the two fights for me that I rewatch and I enjoy.
How about you, Michel? What were some of the toughest fights that you went through? What were some of the most satisfying moments for you, the biggest moments as a fighter for Taurus at Buhurt Prime?
For satisfy, it's a frag of Vitaly Grozlov. It was like once Gladkov says that the fight is a war, and the war is a place to cheat and to find to cheat, like to lie to your opponent. And this was one moment where we success with a lie and we were cheating just to make a frag with such a strong team. Yeah, our team is not so massive by fighters, so for us it was very, very hard fight. But as not sad, but very, we take a very good lesson from fight with Aquila Sikvania. It show when the team that fight and train together wins the team that may be more experienced. A lot of fighters that very experienced, but together they not working a lot, so they success to win us. And it also was my fault, as I'm not so understand, like I have to stop a ninja. Yeah, ninja makes a lot of frags there. Until I look at him not making frags, I look on the side, boom, -1 Taurus. Running to help, boom, -2 frags. And this is also, it's making sense. Also for me was very suddenly that we success to take one round from old friends. It was for me like, what? But yeah, this is a teamwork that we learned before, that we make a trainings together, and on this scheme we success to make at least one round from such a great team.
Excellent. Fantastic, yeah. There were some. It was absolutely full of moments. There were also some new teams that we saw traveling from as far as Mexico. Now, the Mexican team we saw, it was a huge moment for them, and of course they were up against some of the biggest teams in the world. How do you think the fact that they participated in Buhurt Prime? What do you think this means for the teams out in North and South America and Central America? What do you think it will represent for them?
I think it's a bit of a turning point, because we don't often see teams from that far away come to the tournament over here. I mean, obviously it's a lot further to travel, and I think it was a very good experience for them to take back, because over there they do tend to compete in a bubble, where they don't actually get to fight the Ukrainians and the Russians and or other top fighters. So I think that's an experience they'll take back. The Mexico team fought with a lot of heart, and while they lack the experience, they did show the heart, and I think that's really important for Buhurt fighters. because they didn't, like when we fought them, they didn't just, as some inexperienced teams do when they fight a much more experienced team, they didn't just take a knee. Sometimes you fight fighters and you just touch them and they sit down because they're scared, but they didn't. They didn't do that, and they did actually fight. So that was actually really good to see, because we have never seen the Max compete, obviously, either.
Misha, how important is it for teams to fight against the absolute best?
Only in this situation you got improved. When you're fighting with less low-level teams, you will not learn nothing new. You will not win a more stronger team after. So for them and for us, for each who came and competed at Prime, it was a good, even if we not got the first places, it was a very good lesson. It's like a mojo to fight with the best. It's not from taken from air. Yes, it's experience of a people. It's experience of a people who win a lot of fights, who lose a lot of fights because he fight before with the best. So for Mexican guys, it was very big step, the huge step. In my opinion, yeah, I think that's American team, Dragon, no, not Dragons,
Or the Draconis.
or the Draconis. Yes, if they were come, it was more intriga, more intriga, no? Like because they made furore at Battle of the Nations few times. At Dynamo, they also showed themselves like, whoa, didn't success happen. Mexican guys on a short term wake up and came to Prime. It's also not cheap by cash. It's also to prepare and prepare and to be brave to go up to go to the list and fight the best. It's just very very proud for them. Oh, it's my camera.
Got you back somehow. Okay. At the moment, it's too early to say, but in the last year, we did see some teams who who involved in some tournaments, who enjoyed some success. In the last Buhurt Prime, we saw a couple of new teams. Do you think there will be even more new teams this time next year for the next Buhurt Prime? What do you think?
Yes. Yes, because first of all, we saw a new team, Aquila Shikmania, that show during a year you could made it, and now more and more teams that first of all more heavy to fight them. Yes, fight, very more heavy to fight them, more hard to win them, and yeah, and that. I'm not sure that the champions will move, yes, but as we see this year, Bayard missed the Prime by points. Happens. So same. It will be changed, and Corona also make in this very big influence. So yes, for next February it will be maybe another picture of a Prime.
What do you think, Daniel?
I agree with that. I mean, like Morgul said, the top contenders will probably be there again. But I think at least half of the Prime might be different next time. I mean, one of the things that the Buhurt League and Prime have done for our sport is they've given teams something to really focus on and to motivate them to train a lot. And so you're starting to see the teams that train hard, that really want to be the best, actually starting to really, come out of the woods. And obviously, if they've kept that discipline up, kept that training up, I think, coronavirus willing, when tournaments start again, you'll start to see those teams shoot ahead, and the teams that lack the discipline fall way behind, and it will create a very different picture for the next Prime.
There's something quite spectacular about Prime. Of course, it is the most prestigious of the Buhurt events in the Buhurt League. Everything around it, the location in Monaco, you've got the circus tent that it's in, you have all the graphics, you have that amazing crowd. Why is it that teams should want to be there? Apart from the fact that, of course, there would be in the top 10 of the Buhurt League teams. But why that specific location? What is special about that location in Monaco? What were your experiences of it? Michel?
I'm not think that Monaco is the center that just because it's Monaco, the Prime is Prime. No, Prime could be at another places, but it will stay a main target and a main idea to fight for it, to get there. And we could fight at near the house in the garden yard and just to fight, and I'm winner. But this is not main point. You want a lot of fighters want to be famous. Yes, a lot of fighters leave the famous. They want to win. Yes, they fighting for win. Maybe not smart people like me fighting for fighting, but a lot of people want to win, and when each win brings you to some target, and then you win in this target, and when you came to before you came to this target and you got I so wanted before, and you got all courage, and you got all visitors feelings that they crying, and the crowd is loud, very loud, and it's pressing you to the more fights. It's it's make a big sense, and this is why I love Dynamo. Finals of Dynamo, you feel not even the fight, you feel the crowd. Battle of the Nation a little bit less, because the people who came, they not always understand what happened. They see a good show, they see a very spectacular competition, but the Dynamo already make crowd own fans, and the Monaco also. It was a second. I don't know how it was at the first Prime, but second Prime, the crowd. First of all, the place were full of people, and the people know, and they came first of all because last time was awesome, and the second one they already start to love some fighters, to love some to love some teams. Also, Team of Monaco fights. And as a fighter, you feel it.
Yeah.
And this is a competition. Not always the lights, yes. Not only the graphics, but the crowd also making this the specialization of main competition.
Anything to add, Daniel?
Beg your pardon?
Anything to add to that?
I mean, with it, I mean, for me, I fight because I love to fight. Some of my teammates fight and obviously love to win. For me, winning is always nice, but going into a fight and having a really good one, whether I win or lose, but it being a really good fight, it's why I love the fights with Bearpaw and Western Tower. It doesn't matter if I win or lose, it's a good fight. You're going to go in there, you're going to give everything you have. And for me, tournaments like Prime, like Dynamo, have that same feeling. You're going to go, and you're going to get a chance to get those fights. And to have test yourself against the best. win or lose. And so for me, tournaments like Prime, that's what they embody, and that's what I go for. Because throughout the Buhurt League, anytime we can go abroad, or specifically to somewhere like Russia, those tournaments we were really excited for. I mean, we always try and look out, and if we see that a top team's going somewhere like Western Tautenijinga or Denmark in 2018,
the horses.
Bearpaw went there. If we see a top team is going to a tournament, then we go to the tournament, and that's what we aim to do. Because, like Morgul said earlier, you're only going to get better by fighting the best. So we do try and aim to always fight the best. But for points, we have gone to tournaments in France or Germany where there isn't any of those teams there, and you go, and there just isn't excitement. No disrespect. But if you go and you are going to win every fight, you struggle to get excited about it. You go in, you fight them, and then it's done. But Prime, Dynamo, those tournaments, it's that fight, and that's what I love.
Now, Misha mentioned before that it's good when you have the crowd there, and of course last year, the first time at Prime, it was a new thing. There was half to 2/3 of the circus was full. The nice thing about last year was at certain times it was absolutely full, and it was really something quite incredible. Now, for you individually as fighters, how important is it to have a big crowd there? What does it do for you, not as a team, but individually? How does it make you feel when you have a big involved crowd? Misha?
You start with me. There is a pluses and minuses. For me, when the crowd supports me, it makes problems. I found that when the crowd is loud, like Misha or Michael, I start to lose. I don't know why. I make fails. I make some stupid movements. I don't. But if the crowd just woo or making boo or like woo when supporting not by name, wow. It's like energy of tone of Red Bull that you have. Whoa, yeah, they looking at me. Oh, it's so cool. They love what we do. A lot of people love what we do, and you say, oh. And when it finishes, you're like, whoa. it's maybe as narcotic, yeah, but the crowd making our competition more interesting. As for me as a fighter, yes, when we go out to the forest just to make internal competition between like two clubs, like games 20 people, and that's it. Just it's but yes, it's for experience, yes, it's for fight, but when it's even a small competition with a crowd, it looks another, it's feeling another. So, and also for me as a captain, it's maybe new people, maybe new fighter we will find here. Maybe now you want to come. This is epic. You want to come? Come, please, and with no crowd, you say to the guy from another club, come to us. No. So for me, crowd is pretty important. It's make more interesting competition for me. Yes, if we're not looking only to the fights, so this is the second part. We will leave on the side food, hotels. No, crowd. It's like it's also show what the level of the competition.
Yeah. How about you, Daniel? How does it feel to have the crowd behind you, or how does it affect you to have a big crowd there?
For me, the crowd has the biggest effect before and after a fight. So before the fight, you can hear the crowd cheering. You know, you stood there, you know, you haven't got your helmet on yet, and you're watching fights. You can hear the crowd roaring, and I feel like my heart rate increase. I feel my blood start lifting up. You know, and but when I put my helmet on, I go cold. I stop feeling anything. I just zone in, and I don't even notice the crowd. I don't hear them when I fight. I don't hear them shouting. You know, that's just how I fight. And I just go to a place where I just almost don't have emotions during my fights. And then when the fight's over and it's done, then everything comes back. All the feelings, everything comes back, and you can hear that crowd. And it's I don't know. It's almost like a car crash, but in a good way, because everything goes through me. Yeah, but a roller coaster ride might be a better example. You know, with that, you know, you're there at the edge and it goes, and then all of it comes, and it's like that for me. You know, the fight is finished and the crowd's cheering, and that for me, win or lose, hearing that crowd roaring at the end, particularly when you've given it your all, means a lot. You know, it makes a real big difference. You know, you can go to a tournament, and if there's no crowd, you can have a good fight. You can appreciate the fight. Good crowd, particularly a crowd that at least understands some of what's going on. Because let's be honest, often in our sport, crowds cannot understand what's going on at all. Makes a big difference.
Well, certainly, the crowd was electric at the last Buhurt Prime, and I can tell you, from a commentator's point of view, I'm in a strange position, because I have had previous Battle of the Nations where I've been in a box, and you know, I can't see the fights, I can't see the crowd, I can't hear the crowd, I can't hear anything, and of course I'm just there to do a job, which is to do commentary on the fights. But you know, when you're at Prime, in that circus tent, and you know, I just want to take off my headphones at that point, because if it feels good to me, then for the fighters it must feel like something just incredible. But you know, it's interesting that you have very contrasting, very different views on the audience participation point. I think the great thing is that, okay, as you both said, sometimes the audience, the public, they don't know exactly what's happening. They may not know the rules or something, especially for things like pro fights. But it's certainly becoming more and more a spectator sport, and it was very, very popular in Monaco. How do you see the fan involvement improving or changing in Buhurt in general? So not just at Buhurt Prime, but in general. Are there more fans involvement? Are there fewer fans involvement? How do you see it now, Daniel?
I mean, I can only really speak from a UK perspective on this. We don't really have, obviously, any fans. We have other fighters in the country. So we have who maybe watch White Company go and fight. You know, fight some other teams. You know, support staff from other teams. You know, watch us fight online. Because of the way our sport is, you know, and we can be at a castle in France or we can be in a place in Russia, it's very hard for anyone to travel to see us. You know, if it was football, you'd be at certain stadiums, people could buy tickets. We don't have that. And when it comes to online viewing, it's a bit harder to see what's going on in our sport on the camera. When you're there at the list itself, like, you know, if you're in the crowd in Monaco, it's easier to see what's going on. It's easier to actually feel what's going on, because one of the things of our sport, because it's visceral, because of the striking, if you're just there on camera and you just kind of see people hitting each other, you don't feel it. Or when you're at a tournament and you see a halberd come in and you hear the sound of it on a helmet or on a person, it's that visceral nature has a bigger impact on you.
Yeah.
As a spectator. And I think there's some of the points that we are struggling with in our sport. Is it doesn't necessarily translate so well to the screen, as it does in person.
What do you think, Misha? I mean, you've been in this sport for years. You've travelled in all over the world with this sport. What are the significant changes and differences between the spectators, the crowd, the public? What are the changes that you've seen? Is there more interest now? Is it too specific a sport? What do you think?
First of all, the rules. Yeah. Now, all of us saw the video of Max Yoon about the experience of list. For now, in my opinion, the best. The fans are coming from spectacularity, as Daniel says, and I agree with him. When the fights are not spectacular, then the people not feeling this. We're not talking about football when 20 guys just to touching the ball, yeah, and crying from each touching, yeah. But here people not feeling not feeling the pain of the fighters, not feeling that this is a serious strikes. So we have to work a lot on spectacularity. And in my opinion, the list of prime that is circle is the best for now. Yes, it's the best for improve the spectacularity. It was at 2014 at Stavropol. It was at a few times at Dynamo. And then when the fight is a circle, there is no angel. Yeah, when you could stuck.
No.
So you have to move, and when the movement is keeping, it's more interesting for people. About the fans, each team have to work with the base of the fans. For now, in Israel, we have first of all festival Nights of Jerusalem. Daniel, you was yeah. A pretty cool festival. It starts before 10 years, but each year, first of all, they bring same people and more people, and few of these people across to be a fan. So they looking for us at Facebook. They looking for a club who organized this festival. Again, you also was at the Nights of Jerusalem, no?
No, I didn't make it that yet.
So these kind of competitions, even small, it's just show competition. Yeah, it's just show fight. When you're doing once in 2 months, 3 months, it's different places. It collects more people, and you have to work with crowd, not with crowd that looking you, the crowd of all your country, because in real life, not a lot of people know about us. With Corona, it's going more and more sad, but yes, not a lot of people know about us, and we have to work on it. And from here will come also fighters and also fans. Fans, it's a big part of sport. It's a main part of sport. Because from fans, you have fighters. From fans, you have support. From fans, you have sponsors. So it's a part that we have to work on it more and more and more. In Israel, more easy to find a fan than a fighter. It's a problematic of Israel, but Hungary. We was at competition. One of steps of to Buhurt Prime, and there was a huge crowd, and they came to support their team. So each country working on it. Yeah. So I hope it will be more and more improved as soon as possible.
It's certainly something that we all will gain traction, will gain movement, and will improve. But in a number of tournaments, as you said, we're seeing more and more fans. You guys remember, of course, Battle of the Nations is Smederevo in Serbia. That there was the biggest crowds that we've seen in Battle of the Nations, and that's wonderful to see. Of course, families are the sort of bread and butter of these tournaments, and getting them in, it still has that aesthetic value. It still has that importance, and the great thing I think about this sport is that from a spectator's point of view, there's something for everybody. It's a full contact sport. It's something where they have authenticity. It's something which is quite unique. So you've got the younger generation, I mean children, who find it absolutely fascinating and are drawn to it. So it still does have that edge to it. And I think Buhurt Prime is the ultimate platform. It's the refined product. Of course, it's expensive to hold a show like that. Go on.
For local teams, I love the idea of WMFC challenge. So it's more easy to organize. It's also bring points to the fighters of pro fights. It's also making it's not a fencing, so it's a little bit more interesting. And and they're pretty easy to find, like not at least 8 fighters for 4 fights, or 4 fighters for fighting each other. So you have full list of fights, full list of we're fighting list of like number of fights, and it's more cheap to organize it because we made the Israeli challenge,
of course,
WMFC each year, and this idea I tried to transfer to all fighters. If you couldn't, like in Mexico, they also did a Mexican challenge, and they did it few times for to game and practice, also practice, and that each event, when the crowd came to event, they will not come to look to your training. Nobody interesting how you train, and for this event they will come. You have no to put clowns, you have no to put shop, market, medieval, no need. List, the somebody who will explain the rules, what happened, and the fighters, and 2 or 3 marshals, and that's it. This is a ready idea to find the crowd, to find a crowd. So and from there will come funds.
Yeah, of course. Well, you're both. Go on, Karen.
Well, I was going to say, speaking about building up the sport, the fan base, and everything, and focusing on Prime. One of the things I feel that was a real success with Prime was the shape of the list. I'm Morgul, I prefer the circular list. I think it brings more, and when you have a long list, particularly if they're too big, you have fighters at different locations, and the crowd is watching, and then they're watching, and they miss what's going on. But when it is a circular list, the crowd sees a lot more. I think it would do the sport quite a bit of good to go to a circular shape. Also, from a crowd perspective, if you have a circular list and they're around, they're all kind of equal distance from what's going on. So if you have a long list, you have large crowds on each side, and you have no crowds at the end, or maybe you have some crowd at the end. But then you have this problem that any crowd at one end can't see what's happening at the other end of the list. While if it is circular, you see everything. And I think that makes one of the really big differences when you watch the videos from both primes compared to a lot of other tournaments. It's really easy to see what's going on. Even online, you can see everything.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, and I can tell you that so many of my worst moments have been when the camera is focusing on a shield in the corner of the list and everything is happening over the other side, and I can't see it because I'm staring at a shield on the ground, the list. But the camera work was phenomenal for the stream for Buhurt Prime. It's really professional, but even from a commentator's point of view, because the evenness, there's an equal sort of measure of fights, of skirmishes, of grappling, and so it's much easier to have a successful live stream on. So even I'm not even a fighter, and I prefer to have the circular lists, and I find them a lot more effective and just better for the spectators as well as the fighters.
Daniel, what do you think about the many ideas that now experience in Russia about the lists? Did you love something?
The idea that I thought would work for improving some of the quality of our sports from viewing was the wood on the top, so you couldn't hook. That for me was the best idea.